Hello, and welcome back to my face and some more World of Tanks. I return. Today we're going to be doing the T57 Heavy, currently in the Battle Pass, so I thought why not? I'm currently marking it, going for 4K DPG, so I thought why not feature a replay so I can pass on my knowledge of the tank to you guys. So, let's get straight into this game. We're going to be watching Certo Charlie Primate today, playing his T57 Heavy on a top tier mines game. This is pretty much the dream scenario to get your T57 Heavy into. This tank is very, very good. It got buffed back in update 120.0 and the gun handling got buffed, and it's basically since then the tank has moved up in the meta. You know, when we talk about the meta, we're not talking about competitive in terms of onslaught, clan wars, campaigns. We're more talking in terms of the random meta. It is just a significantly more comfy tank to play. Its gun remains random, as you're going to see in this game. It is no perfect, there are things in this kind of video which are going to highlight how this gun still, it's not laser accurate, it's not STRV level, it still has bloom, it's still going to be derpy, but it's a lot better than it was. So if you've played this tank in the past, a year ago, 8 months ago, maybe consider repicking it back up, because a lot has changed, and I'm going to try and show you that today. Okay, so far Charlie's already managed to pick himself up 1200 damage. He's going to keep picking up a little bit more here on this 1-to-1B. Already up to 2k in the first minute 30. You can kind of see where this replay is going, but I don't want to focus too heavily on the replay here. I want to just use the replay just to highlight what this tank is good at and what you need to be aware of, how to counter it, how to play it yourself. Basically, that's what I want to use this replay for. Okay, so let's get a bit statistical here. Let's talk about some of the statistics of this tank. When you have it fully tricked out, I'm using equipment-wise, currently whilst I'm playing it, I'm using bond hardening, bond V-stabs, and fully upgraded bounty improved aiming system. Good choice in my opinion. Hardening allows you to trade better. V-stabs helps improve that gun handling. Same with the IA, just means you can snap shots a little bit more. So that's a personal choice. You could instead choose vents. You could instead, choose a turbo instead of an IA. But up to you. Don't forget, you do have 2 equipment slots now, so you could always take a turbo on a map where you want to take a really aggressive position. So I'm not 100% sure what the equipment Charlie is using here, but I feel like he's using a turbo because he got into this position, this aggressive position on mines, really quite quickly, which allowed him to pick up that early damage on the Cobra. So, back to the stats. Fully tricked out, you can get up to 3.3k DPM in this tank, which is, it's high. It's not the highest, tier 10 heavy tank DPG, but it's, sorry, DPM, but it's not, it's about middle ground, right? It will shred through opponents. This tank has a clip damage of 1600. It is pretty mental. You can one-shot this Tiger, well, basically one-clip this Tiger. You can pretty much take 2/3 of the HP away from any same tier tank. It really is brutal. You have the pen on your gold to be able to, maximize your damage from the clip, Standard pen on this tank is pretty poor. As you can see, Charlie's basically taken full gold, which, call him a gold spam or whatever. In this tank, it's kind of necessary to be able to play it to high level. Standard pen is only 258mm, which is like one of the lowest for tier 10 heavies. But its gold pen is one of the highest at 340, so you've got that trade-off. If you have the ability to take gold and you're willing to take it, this tank has low amounts of shells as well, so you have to be careful with this tank. As you're going to see in this replay, it does only carry 36 shells, which is only really potential for about 8 good clips. So, bear that in mind. You can't just go around clicking. Blinding in this tank's not really advisable because you're just going to run out of shells. So, be careful, be aware, and really just try and maximize your clip potential, because hitting anything for 400 with your alpha and then clipping it for 1600 with 4 shells it's just great. It's pretty unique. You know, there's similar tanks like the Cobra nowadays, but that has to fight Hesh. But in terms of just heavy tank clip potential, it's pretty unique. So maximize it, make good use of it. So when you've got it fully tricked out, all crew skills as well, you can get this tank's total reload down to 23 seconds, which is very good. You know, that brings that DPM up to 3.3k. And with the setup that I use, you know, the improved aiming and the V-stabs, you can get this tank's gun handling to be pretty reliable. You know, it's not going to be perfect, and I must say, you know, it's still going to be a bit trolley, but I can get it down to 2.4 seconds aim time with 0.28 dispersion. You know, that's slightly worse than the S-Conk. It's reliable, but it is not going to, you know, it's not going to be laser accurate, right? It still has its weaknesses, so, you know, work with that and be aware it's not perfect. So, speed-wise, with the setup that I'm using without the turbo, I can get it up to 35 forward, 17 reverse, which is middle ground. It's basically a super conk kind of level, so if you've played that tank, you kind of know what you're expecting, but yeah, it's not fast. That's basically what I'm saying here. But with a turbo, you can slightly improve it and get into position a little bit quicker. Right, I'm going to talk about this tank's armor now. So we're going to pause it here, and I'm basically just going to use this position to kind of show what this tank is just going to get destroyed after doing. So, you don't ever really want to peek side on like this, because you're just going to get penned in the side, and that's blatantly obvious. But this tank has a boat-shaped hull, right? Its hull is pretty unique in the sense that it's shaped like a boat. So if any of you have played the pattern, as you can kind of see, it kind of curves. So you can basically bait people into shooting at your lower plate. If you angle it like this, you know, you'll ricochet some shots. You know, you'll use your upper hull to ricochet. But it has cheeks. And if you're playing against this tank, you want to shoot it here and here, and you can even pen here. But if you have 180 to 200 pen, tier 8, this is what I'm kind of talking at here, aiming at you guys, shoot here, you're going to pen it. It's in its thickest places, it's 205 millimeters. So just shoot it. And if you're looking at this tank frontally, and say, for example, it's driving at you and it's wiggling its turret, shoot its lower plate. Just basically aim for right and left of the lower plate, and it's about 190 millimeters. So, you know, but if you know you're shooting it at this angle, aim for the turrets. You know, aim for this side. You never really want to aim here because you're just going to ricochet. But here you'll have a reliable pen, and you can pen it through its tracks. Obviously, you don't use heat, use APCR, AP, but you can pen it through its tracks. So be aware of that. So if you're playing this tank, you kind of want to peek in a way that only really, which allows you to basically only show your cheeks and just hope that they basically miss your cheeks. So you want to be, you know, moving in this tank, you want to be baiting shots with your lower plate, and you want to play it as a little bit of like an assassin. You know, you want to be patient. You have to be patient when you're playing this tank. It's not a 50B where you can YOLO into position, you can use the speed and, you know, good clip as well to be able to clip stuff out. You have to be patient, and you have to be aware that you're not going to, you know, be able to just destroy people. But if you can catch someone out and play it like an assassin, you can clip them for 1600. And it's such a good feeling just to be able to go, ha, where's your 1600 damage gone? Well, it's mine. It's just great. So if you're looking for a tank that plays like the 50B, but you want a little bit more armor, you feel like you get yourself into trouble in the 50B, which, you know, for most players, they abuse the speed of the 50B, get into a really aggressive position, and then do one clip and die, because the speed baits them. So this tank might be perfect for you, because it doesn't quite have the speed to be overly aggressive. And it'll teach you the positioning to be able to, like, here, Charlie's took an absolutely perfect position in the T57 Heavy, where he can shoot across to the island, he can shoot up to the hill, he can start to harass the T57 Heavy, and he played this tank perfectly, which is why I chose this replay, because it highlighted its low shell amount. He ran out of shells. He managed to get a legitimate fade-ins medal at the end, so GG, that is, you know, up there with some of the rarest medals in the game. he managed to pick himself up 6 kills. He managed to pick himself up 10k damage. Just playing this tank like an assassin. He wasn't abusing the armor. He got lucky once or twice, don't get me wrong. But he got penned in his weak spots. He penned other tanks in their weak spots. He was using the gold too well. He was playing it like an assassin. He took a really strong position. Yeah. I've actually chosen this replay because it highlights how to play the T57 Heavy. So, I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to quickly put them up on screen, the field mods that I recommend you to take and the 2 equipment choices I recommend you to take. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, make a comment below, tell me what you liked, tell me what you want me to do next. Any tank requests you want to see me do a how to play series on, because I'm open to doing them. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all soon. Bye!